Sometimes, life forces us to slow down in unexpected ways. As I'm working to recover from an illness and care for a lingering cough, I'm finding comfort in the simple healing routines of daily life. Love, prayer, and nourishment are powerful, not just for the body, but for the soul too. Oddly enough, I've noticed that while I'm standing up, I don't cough as much. So I'm taking this as an opportunity to dive into some homemade recipes that I've been wanting to tackle for a while. It's a small silver lining in the midst of feeling under the weather. While I sit here and edit this video together, I reflect on how much has happened recently. My husband Mike, right now, he's in the hospital really sick. I'm believing and trusting that he's going to be okay. But we had a big scare, and it's hard to watch these moments back, knowing just how sick he was. When I'm not at my best, Mike always takes on more than he should. That's the beauty of our marriage. Despite that it's November, I'm still harvesting carrots from our little garden. These humble roots make me so grateful that I planted those seeds. Even with doubts, they grow in time. Yet here they are, thriving and ready to add something fresh to our soup today. There's something deeply comforting about chicken noodle soup. It's more than just food, it's warmth and care in a bowl. This chicken noodle soup is one of the easiest and most nourishing recipes I know. It's comfort in every sense of the word. As a kid, I always heard chicken noodle soup called Jewish penicillin, and for good reason. It heals from the inside out. What's special is that we could grow every single ingredient from scratch if we wanted to. It even has me wondering if it's time to consider raising meat birds alongside our laying hens. Chicken soup is always my first go-to when I'm under the weather. It's a bit of a challenge to make when you're not feeling well, but it's worth the effort. And if I make a double batch today, I'll have plenty stocked up for the next time sickness strikes, saving future me some much needed energy. Last year, I rendered beef tallow from leaf fat and stored it in the freezer, waiting for the right moment. Today, I'm going to melt it down and make a whipped tallow balm, a simple, old-fashioned remedy for dry skin and cracked hands. You can even use it as lip balm. I'm also working on a couple of bone broths. Chicken and turkey, and next I'll do a beef broth. Bone broth is a cornerstone in our home when someone is under the weather. It's warm, nutrient-rich, and comforting. Everything you need when your body is working hard to heal. I love how simple it is. Bones, water, and a splash of apple cider vinegar to draw out the minerals. And it also needs time. As the days grow shorter and the nights colder, we're tackling the little tasks that make a big difference for winter. Today, Mike and I are putting out greenhouse tarps around the chicken run to shield them from the bitter winds. It's one of those chores that feels small, but speaks to the care that we put into this life that we've built.
Hi, pretty girl. Hi.
Our soup is almost ready, and I can't wait to sit down in front of the fire with a warm bowl. Life on the farm means there's always another job to be done, animals to tend, and chores to finish. But the real reward comes in moments like these. A cozy fire, a chilly fall evening, and the simple comfort of knowing that today's work is done. I was recently gifted a wonderfully strong sourdough starter after a bit of a heartbreak. I dropped my 1-year-old starter that I started, and the jar shattered. This new starter is incredible, tripling in size within hours, practically begging me to bake. Today feels like the perfect day to bake, and the sourdough will go nicely with our soup later on. Sourdough has a rhythm that's both familiar and rewarding. The process is straightforward. Water, starter, flour, salt, and mix. Then comes the stretch and folds, the bulk ferment, the cold ferment, and finally the bake. It's not always easy, but it's simple. I didn't feel much like planting garlic this year, but garlic is one of those crops that rewards a little effort now with abundance later. If we skip planting in the fall, there's no harvest come summer. So we powered through and got the cloves in the ground, one by one. It's a small act of faith, planting something now and trusting that with time, it will grow into something worthwhile.
He loves you.
Hello. Hello.
A good bone broth takes time. That's what makes it special. It's a reminder that healing and nourishment, like so many things in life, can't be rushed. You give it time to release all of its goodness, and what you're left with is liquid gold. After 24 hours, I add any veggies that I have. More carrots from the garden, onion peelings that I've saved, celery and garlic from our abundant harvest. This will give the broth a lot of flavor. Tallow Balm is one of those simple, old-fashioned remedies that has stood the test of time. It's made from rendered beef fat. It's deeply nourishing for the skin, loaded with vitamins A, D, E, and K. Its nutrients our skin craves, especially during the dry, cold months of winter. To make a whipped tallow balm, you can use any oil that stays liquid at room temperature. Today, I'm using avocado oil because it's what I have on hand, and it's wonderfully nourishing for the skin. We'll have to wait until it cools before we can whip it. While we wait for the tallow to cool, it's the perfect time to heat up the oven and get our sourdough ready for baking. There's nothing quite like the anticipation of that golden crusty loaf fresh out of the oven. Our tallow has now cooled down enough that we can whip it to the consistency that we like. Tallow Balm is incredibly versatile. I use it for everything: dry hands, cracked heels, even as a lip balm, or to soothe minor cuts or eczema. It's one of those remedies that feels like a little miracle in a jar. I have a ton of orange essential oil on hand, and we need several drops for this. This will make it smell amazing, and orange oil promotes feelings of happiness and peace in aromatherapy. Bone broth is packed with collagen, gelatin, and minerals, making it a powerful ally for the immune system, gut health, and even joints. It's amazing how much goodness is locked inside something most people would throw away. After it's cooled, I'll skim off a top layer and strain it with cheesecloth. I only want a broth left. A good broth takes time. It's what makes it special. I've been waiting nearly 40 hours to start sipping on this for nourishment. One of my favorite things when I'm sick is sipping on a warm mug of delicious bone broth. I added a turkey carcass to this, so it gave the broth a very deep flavor. I'm going to can the rest of the broth to use during periods of sickness or in recipes. Pressure canning broth is pretty quick. It only takes about 20 minutes of pressure to can pints. It looks like winter is finally approaching as we woke up to a very beautiful but a more cold morning. I'm really hoping we can start to feel better because the animals won't wait. We have a lot of work ahead of us to get our little farm ready for winter. It seems to sneak up faster on us each year. Thank you for joining me in today's video. I can't promise when I'll post next, but here's a few videos lined up about winter life on our little farm. Until then, take care, keep warm, and I'll see you next time.